Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, dear viewers, to another live episode of Let's Talk. And I'm your host for the program, Junaid Dar. Dear viewers, I'd like to begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I'd also like to begin by making mention of the glorious name of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Dear viewers, our topic today is one of great importance, and that is of leadership. When we look in the Muslim world, in certain places you will find chaos, disturbance and imbalance. And some may say that one of the reasons for this disturbance is the fact that people are not carrying out their responsibilities as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said so. There is a beautiful narration of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam where he once spoke to the people and he said that the amana, that the trust between the people, if this has been lost, then just wait for the hour. Then the companions inquired, "What do you mean, Ya Rasulullah?" And he said that the amana is when responsibilities and roles, great roles, are given to people who are not qualified and who are not able to fulfill these roles, then just wait for the hour. So the question today really is, are us, me and you, are we fulfilling our responsibilities? Are we good role models? Are we good leaders? As fathers, as husbands, as teachers, as managers, as statesmanship, are we good leaders? If not, what are the reasons to why we are not? So that's our discussion for today. Let us begin by introducing our guests, and then we'll go straight into our questions. If I can turn to the right, brother, and I'll ask you to introduce yourself. Give us your name and a bit about yourself, please.
My name is Idris Surat, and I'm from America, and I'm here studying Arabic and memorizing Quran and teaching English, inshallah, and just trying to benefit with my family the best I can.
Okay, welcome, Brother Idris. Brother, if I could ask you to introduce yourself as well, just give us a name and a little bit about yourself, please.
My name is Ahmed Neg, senior student Azhar University, Faculty of Languages and Translation. I'm from Egypt, and I'm working as an instructor, co-founder in English Stars, and I do a work of interpretation.
Okay, welcome, brother, to our program.
I'm very pleased.
If I can turn to the left-hand side, brothers, if I can ask you to begin with yourself, please.
Yes, actually, my name is Mohammed Rifai. I'm a teacher of English in the 6th of October here. I'm Egyptian. I'm 28 years, and welcome to my friends.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, actually, my name is Ahmed Ramadan. I'm a teacher of English and also studying HR Human Resources and preparing my master to better communication and through the world, the Arab world and the Islamic world as well.
Okay, welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, also at this point I would like to remind you that our phone lines are open, we are live, so please do call us, give us your questions, your comments, your queries, anything that you would like to add to the discussion, please bring it forward. We have two numbers and hopefully you should be seeing those running across the screen right about there. If you're calling outside of Egypt, then please do use the code which is inside the brackets 002. Let's move around and ask a few questions here. Brother Idris, let's begin with yourself. Do you believe today, as Muslims, are we true good role models and leaders the way that we should be?
Some are, but obviously not enough.
Okay.
Because if enough were, we wouldn't be in the situations that we are in today.
Sure.
But some you will find amazing leaders. You will find people that are just unbelievable, and usually I find them to be Muslim.
Okay.
Of course, you find these qualities sometimes in non-Muslims, but I find it more in upright Muslims than I find in anyone else.
Okay.
Because of the standards and the things that we're being held to, and who is holding you to account for it. So it keeps that person in check usually.
Okay.
Over rather than some of the things that non-Muslims that keep them in check. It's not as strong as a Muslim's view of Allah is the one who's, holding you accountable for it. So, but to be fair, you find it anywhere. But I believe that, like I said, that most Muslims, maybe not, but we have some strong Muslims, yes.
Okay, so overall, would you say that generally, if I was asked you to give us a general trend, are we good leaders or are we not?
I think it's a loaded question, but I think we are, but we're not doing it as a whole. There are, like I said, pockets of people who you'll find who are amazing leaders.
Okay.
But I mean, as a whole, majority, no.
Okay.
So I mean, in aspects, the reason why I say it's a little question is because, yes, you may find a Muslim man who's a great leader for his family. It's not just when people think of leaders, it's just, leaders of countries. It's leaders in all aspects.
That's right.
So That's why I said it's a loaded question.
Okay, that's great. So, but you answered it well. Brother Ahmed, what do you think? Do you think we, as Muslim men and women, are we good leaders? Are we representing our faith correctly?
Okay, right now, leaders right now are very different from the leaders back to the history of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. Because if we would like to be true leaders, we have to look back at the Prophet and the companions. The Prophet ﷺ is a true leader.
Sure.
The Prophet ﷺ, when he deals with his servant Anas ibn Malik radiallahu anhu, said that I served for the Prophet for 10 years, and the Prophet ﷺ did not tell me for the things I did, why did you do it? Did you do them? And for the things I did not do, why didn't you do them?
Okay.
So the Prophet ﷺ knows the internal mechanics of Anas ibn Malik, and is a good leader. And the Prophet ﷺ is self-aware, is aware of himself. The leader has to be aware of himself first in order to know the weakness points and the strength points, in order to develop the strength points, and in order to solve the weakness points. If we look at the leaders, the Prophet ﷺ, the companions, inshallah we will be having leaders in our daily life right now.
Okay, very nice. So overall, would you say today, yes or no?
This is a tricky question. I do not like to tell you that we do not have a true leader as it is.
Okay.
Yes, I do not want to...
So you're in between?
yeah.
Okay, that's great. If I can turn to this side, Brother Muhammad, what do you think? Are we as Muslim men and women fulfilling our responsibilities? Are we good role models, good leaders?
Yes, first of all, I just want to thank Brother Ahmed for the point he said about Prophet Muhammad. Like, he was the best leader ever. Like, in the time of peace, in the time of war, in everyday life. He taught us like what the meaning of real leadership. And actually, before answering this question, we have to ask ourselves, like, do we have the enough knowledge to enough knowledge to be leaders?
Okay.
Do we have the great personalities? Do we have the real deen to make us the great leaders, like leading the whole ummah? This is kind of really some questions we have to ask ourselves before answering this question.
Sure.
But in all, like, I agree with Brother Idris, some of us like are leaders, but some are not, because like we are like we don't have the great knowledge, when we are losing a lot of things, like Muslims in the past used to get, as Brother Ahmed like said, and let me say, like, we have got great leaders, but actually not enough to take the whole ummah forward.
Sure.
We need to know more. We need to prepare the new generation to be ready for the new leadership, like for a new era.
Excellent.
Muslims to be in the first place.
Okay, so overall, you're similar to Brother Idris, saying that we don't have that capacity, that level of quality.
We don't have we don't have like a lot of leaders, but
Okay.
we have leaders.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Brother Ahmed, if I can, your job is to produce leaders and you
Yes.
train them as well.
Yes.
So what would you say? Do we have them in our society, sufficient amounts of leaders in our society?
Yes, I can say that, because you know that nobody's perfect, number one. And what is the leader? To take you from where you are to where you can go. That's number one. And leadership is a talent, it's a gift. So we have to work on the weaknesses points, not to weaken them. So what I'm trying to say is, we have leaders, but we do not have the chances or even the training to lead them from where they are to where they can go.
Okay.
Yes, we have true leaders, but we don't have the chances. Yes, we can work on any kind of problems by coaching. What is coaching? To coach them in the private and praise them in public. Let him or her feel that he is precious or she is precious.
Okay.
Let him feel that he can go, he can lead. And Prophet Muhammad ﷺ gave us a lot of examples when he assigned young men to be able to lead the whole like wars and a lot of battles against the disbelievers. And we
Okay.
can say that, yes, we have true leaders, we have good leaders, but we do not have, like, what can I say, a kind of training, a kind of a chance to lead them to be true leaders.
Okay, so would you say overall we have them, or we don't? So you're
have.
yes. Okay,
We have.
excellent, great. If I can come back around,
It's a
Brother
nation of
Idris.
leaders.
Sure.
It's a nation of leaders.
Okay, Brother Idris, if I can come back and ask you, if we look at our history over 1,400 years, apart from the obvious, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is there anybody else that really stands out for you as a role model, as a real leader that you look up to?
Quite a few, actually. I mean, the history is rich, like dark chocolate. It's very rich history. So, I mean, for me, I think one of the most overlooked leaders that we have, because his time was short, is I think the best man after Muhammad is Abu Bakr.
Okay.
For me, I mean, because I know it's often overshadowed by Umar ibn Khattab's time, because he ruled a long time and we got more examples and more things from him.
Sure.
But when you look at the life of Abu Bakr, especially when he became the Khalifa, especially at this time, even though it was short, it was absolutely amazing. If we didn't have this man, I think we would have had a different, history.
Sure.
This man was a special man, and he did things that were crucial and important. And when you study his life, he was an amazing leader.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing. After the Rasulullah, because you gave me the stipulation. So
of course, yeah. All right, excellent. So we have Abu Bakr as-Siddiq here. Yes, Brother Ahmed.
I'd like to add something to what my brother Idris said. When the Caliph Umar ibn Khattab, during one of his sermons, he was very humble. He was a true leader because he was very humble. When a woman was speaking to him, the Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, was convinced of her point, and he said, "Asabat imra'ah wa akhta Umar." So he was very humble. A woman is corrected and Umar is mistaken.
Sure.
So we have lots of models of leaders like Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anh, when he tries to read the Holy Quran in one rak'ah, and he could tell anybody to pray, but he did not. Instead he prayed. He read the Holy Quran.
Sure.
He read the Holy Quran in one rak'ah. He is a leader. He is not a manager, and there is a difference between him.
But sorry, Brother Ahmed. So you mentioned a few names here. You mentioned Umar. You mentioned Uthman. Which is the one person that really stands for you?
After the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
Of course.
Umar ibn Khattab.
Okay.
I like him because he's very strong.
He's a strong man.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. So we have Abu Bakr and we have Umar. I think we might end up having the 4 caliphs here. So
Yes.
Brother Muhammad, so who is the personality that stands out most for you? It could be from any era, from any time, but really you are impressed by this person.
Yeah, for me, I'm really impressed about the points my brother said. It's about every caliph has got a point of strength. For me, I always think that Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, he's actually a great leader, and I'm really impressed about the way he ran the whole ummah for a very short period of time, and then he ended up having everyone has got enough money and everything was settled. Actually, I don't see at the present time people are eating a lot, people living luxurious lives, and other people living in poverty, in rich poverty, and they're suffering a lot because of no leaders, no fair leaders nowadays.
Okay.
I'm really missing. I wish I had the chance to meet Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Actually, I like his personality. I like the way he managed things.
Very nice. Okay, so we have Umar ibn Abdul Aziz here. Very nice. So the 4th, Brother Ahmed, who is your inspiration after the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
After it was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Actually, we have a lot, even to make sure that, or tell you that we have a lot of leaders. So I cannot even pick one of them. But we can say Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, since he is very smart. He is, when it comes to battles, when it comes to wars, he is he has a very great mentality when it comes to deceive the enemies, to be able to get a few steps in their lands, to be able to invade them. He's very smart. He is very, very smart. So I like this Khalifa, I love this person. He's one of the best leaders ever in the whole history.
Okay, very nice. So all 4 of you chose Sahaba, people from the first early generation of Islam. All right, so let's move around a little bit here. Brother Idris, if I can ask you, I think we've admitted that the quality of leadership has declined significantly from the time of the Prophet ﷺ up until now. Can I ask you to give us just one reason on why do you think that this decline has taken place?
I think it's simply put the fact that we've left the principles that were laid for us.
Okay.
I mean, I think in the argument of trying to move forward and like, oh, we have to move forward and be modern and, you know, follow, we've left the principles, not understanding that, you know, the principles have to remain.
Sure.
You know, just like in fiqh, you have different fatwas, you have different things that change, but you still have a foundation.
Right.
We've left the foundation in search of modern, and now we're falling apart.
Okay.
So we're a roof of a building with no foundation.
Sure.
So that's my, to put it simple, that's the reason why I think that things have gone.
So we've left the foundations of Islam and we've jumped the gun, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, just to give an example is, look at the, you know, not to pick on any place in particular, but if you go to the Middle East and you look at the adab and akhlaq of the people, it's nothing like Islam, generally speaking. If you go out into the cities, you won't find any Islamic, you know, personality within the adab of the people.
Right, okay.
Now, in their house you will. You know,
Sure.
This is different, but I'm talking about generally speaking, when you go on the streets and you're mingling in the market, of course it's supposed to be rough, because this is what we know from our social, you know, the marketplace will be this way, but we've gone far from anything that we were taught.
Okay, so moving away from the principles of Islam, Brother Muhammad, if I can ask you the same question, what other reason do you think has been the cause of the decline in leadership?
Before I answer this question, actually, like I want to tackle a very important point, which is education. Education, like I feel, like the whole world is moving forward, and we're still lagging behind.
Okay.
And this is because, like, education, we don't get to to know more using state-of-the-art technology in our schools and in our education system. Like, people are lagging behind, and the whole world is like moving forward. Like, we have something is called globalization.
Okay.
We're losing our identity, so we're losing our language, so we're losing leadership, we're losing the deen, we're losing everything.
Okay.
So if we come back to education, taking the whole students into the first row of the whole ummah, not only like just like throwing them away from leadership and just putting them in like small spots, and like ignoring them and just putting like people who are just old and they don't have like any experience about anything
Sure.
of the new things and new technology or something. So I feel like education is the thing that we takes us from darkness into light.
Very nice.
You know, like Japan. I like most of the Egyptian guys, like the example of Japan. Like, they are modern, they're using technology, and they are like respectable people in the
Okay.
first place.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so we have the lack of education, and I think everybody will agree on that as well.
Yes.
Brother Ahmed, if I can ask you the same question also, what other reason do you think has been the cause for the lack of good role models and good leaders?
By the way, look at the qualities at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Yes, yes.
The qualities like pardon, like mercy. These qualities are declining right
Okay.
now. Qualities like mercy, like pardon. The quality of pardon. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, فَعْفُ عَنْهُمْ وَاسْتَغْفِرْ لَهُمْ وَشَاوِرْهُمْ فِي الْأَمْرِ. Pardon them and forgive them and consult them in the matter. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was consulting even his wives. Was consulting Salama on the occasion of Al-Hudaybiyah.
Okay.
So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not know what he should do in this occasion when all his companions refused to leave Mecca. So he went to his wife and he told her that, what should I do?
Okay.
And consulted her, and she told him, قوموا فانحروا ثم أحلقوا. Stand up, offer your sacrifices, and then shave your heads.
Okay.
And the Prophet ﷺ took her speech and went to the Sahaba, and then they refused to leave Mecca, and then he went back again to her. Look at the consultation.
Okay.
The leaders right now do not do these matters. So if we stick to the qualities that are there existing in at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, we are building true leaders.
Excellent. So you made mention of two qualities there. You said the lack of mercy and
Mercy,
also the lack of
pardon.
consultation, people not consulting, the
Yes.
leaders not consulting the
Yes.
people. Very nice. Okay, Brother Ahmed, what do you feel are the reasons to why we've lost quality in leadership?
I totally agree with Mr. Muhammad because he said the lack of education and also the globalization and open-minded. Let me just tell you something here. We are here imitating the globalization with negatives and positives. Like right now, a lot of youth, young people can say, hello, what's up, man? And how are you? And low-waist trousers. Man, we are men. So we have to imitate our prophet. We have to imitate our best companions, not to imitate the other world.
Okay.
Why do we do this? Do you think this is going to be modern? Do you think this is open mind? I believe the open mind with the way of thinking, way of getting the technology, way of innovating, not just imitating the negativity, just imitate the positivity and skip the negativity. That's why lack of education. And when he gave us a very good example of Japan. Japan got the best and left the worst.
Okay.
That's what I can say. The education, the ethics, and we have to make some people humble. Right now, a lot of people, to make sure they are modern, they are good, start to put English in their words in Arabic. However, they are natives. Why do you use Arabic? Why do you use English while you are speaking Arabic? I'm an Arabic person, you are Arabic person. Why should you use the English?
Sure.
Just to make sure that I'm a classy person, I'm very educated. No, this is not the way to prove that you're educated or not. Your ethics. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the closest, said that closest one to me is the best one who has the ethics.
Very nice.
So that's what I say. Get the positive, leave the negative. Imitate the right way. Be away from the worst way or the bad or the negative one.
Excellent. So a loss of ethics and a loss of real role models, looking over to others instead of looking at our own history.
Yes.
Very nice. Thank you very much, Brother Ahmed. Brother Idris, I would like to have a look at the best man ever, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in 4 different ways. But I'll start with yourself. I would like you to highlight for us how the Prophet ﷺ was such a good leader when it came to him being a father to his children.
To his children? I think he in several ways. One, I mean, it's kind of hard to put it in one way because, I mean, he showed them compassion. He showed them how to be a leader by doing. He didn't just like sit back and have a sip of tea and tell them go do that, do this. He was with them. He showed them. If he wanted them to do something, he did it with them.
Okay.
So on top of that, I think an often misused thing nowadays, this is paramount that people don't realize, is that he gave them responsibility.
SubhanAllah.
He allowed them to be responsible so they can grow up and know how it is to be. Nowadays, kids don't have responsibility.
Okay.
Oh, he's a kid, or they don't want him to do this. They don't want him to give them responsibility to do wrong and right and learn.
Sure.
How can you be a leader if you didn't learn how to have any responsibility growing up?
Very nice.
It's very difficult. So those are just a few. I mean, his treatment with children is a book in itself and a show in itself. So.
Okay, excellent. All right, Brother Ahmed, let's have a look at the Prophet ﷺ again. But I want you to explain to us, how was he a good leader when it comes to his religious duties as a religious leader?
The Prophet ﷺ, as my brother said, he was not forcing the companions. He was not forcing the servants to do a certain job. As nowadays, he was not a manager, he was a leader. Nowadays, the managers enforce the employees to do the job. They do not look at the motivation, at the innovation, but the Prophet ﷺ was motivating the companions. Look at the competition in reading the Holy Quran and memorizing the Hadith and all of this.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. You want to say something?
I just want to add one thing.
Yeah,
to what
go
you
on,
said, just very quickly. If you think about nowadays, how many of us have had managers? Say, for instance, like some of us are school teachers. How many of you have had a supervisor and they come and maybe they watch you and they give you critique? How many of you ever seen your supervisor says, "Let me show you how it's done," and come and teach one of your classes for you, and you watch your teacher? You watch the supervisor teach the class, so you can see how it's done.
Interesting.
You've never seen that.
Yes,
They just want to critique you, but they don't show you how. They just tell you how.
Give you a piece of
How
paper with
many teachers would respect a supervisor who came and said, "Have a seat, let me show you something"? I think the teacher would be amazed, like, wow, this person's really teaching me.
Okay, very nice.
We don't find this in a lot of leaders today. They just love to point and talk and talk and talk, but no doing.
Sure. Brother Muhammad, I want to continue looking at the Prophet ﷺ, but could you explain to us how the Prophet ﷺ was a leader himself in running the affairs of the people as a statesman?
In running the affairs of the people. Yeah, actually, like when it comes to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when it relates to the people of the whole ummah, actually Prophet Muhammad was the greatest model. Actually, when we think of Prophet Muhammad, actually from scratch, from the beginning of Islam, like the advent of Islam, he didn't think of himself, but he thought of the whole ummah, of the whole nation, of the whole deen, because this was his message.
Okay.
So I remember just one of the things that etched in my memory. When all tribes, Quraysh and the whole tribes, tried to attack the Muslims, and they were holding Muslims like together, and he just asked Salman al-Farisi, like, for a kind of, what do you think of Salman? Salman, he offered like the idea of like digging around the whole camp. So it was like a kind of, he didn't think of himself like, I'm the leader, I'm the boss. Okay, I give orders, I say things, people say no. Okay, so people say yes, like in a way or another. But he thought of the whole people, like he took a kind of advice. He thought of the whole situation.
Sure.
What's going to happen is not going to happen for him like alone, but just it will affect the whole Muslims. This was one of the situations I like it. Like, he didn't think of himself, but at the same time he tried to spread like fairness between people. He said like all people are equal. There is nothing makes difference between people except like worshiping God, or being a taqi, or a righteous person.
Okay, very nice. Thank you, Brother Muhammad. Brother Ahmed, I want to look at the Prophet ﷺ as being a husband. As it is known, he had 9 wives. How was he a leader to his wives as well?
Yeah, perfect. Like, I believe, and I'm pretty sure of that, he was participating in the housework, he was participating how to do this, and participating in everything. But when it comes to prayer time, he goes to pray. And also showed us how to pray. He showed us the duhr prayers, how many rakahs, how can we make sujood, how can we make. He didn't say, just go and pray. No, he showed us. Because the leader is going to tell you, I'm going to show you how to do this. But the manager, go and do this.
Sure.
So he's leading us. He led his wives also to be even very good models for all Muslim girls.
Sure.
Yes. So even he started with hijab. He started with the way of dealing with the others, strangers, Muslims, brothers, everything. So he was like perfect when it comes to this matter. So that's what I can see.
Okay, excellent. So we've talked about the Prophet ﷺ in a number of different lights, and subhanAllah, we've got an example that we all need to follow. But let's take a short break here, and then when we come back, we'll continue with our discussion on leadership. Dear viewers, let's take a short break here, and then when we come back, we'll have a look at some of the key qualities that a good leader must have. So let's take a break, and also don't forget that our phone lines are open. So do call us, give us your questions, your comments, why or what do you think are the reasons to why today people are not good leaders? What's ruining this quality of being a good role model? So let's take a break, and I'll see you in just a few moments. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers, joining us on our live program, Let's Talk. Dear viewers, our topic for today is true leadership. Do we have it or do we not have it? What are the reasons to why there's been a decline of good role models in our community? And you can also join the debate. You can pick up your phones and call us. Give us your questions, your comments, your queries. The numbers are there, hopefully running on your screens. Do call us and take part of the discussion. Not just that, but if you're unable to get to your phone, you can also jump onto Facebook, go onto the Huda TV's page. You'll see a post there about leadership, and you can put your comment, and hopefully I can read those out and present them to the guests here in the studio. Let us get back to our discussion. Brother Ahmed, if I can turn to you, I would like to have a look at now some of the qualities that a good leader must have. And if I can start with the importance of Iman, having good faith. How important is that?
Yeah, actually, because when it comes to a good leader, he has to have a quality, not quantity methods. So I have to focus on the quality. Like, for example, I have to apply the method of SMART. I have to be specific. I have to get something measurable. I have to get something achievable, realistic with a time frame. So if I have a problem in a department, or I have a problem in a department of teaching, and I have to lead one of the teachers or the new teachers to be a good model or a good teacher, I'm going to ask him to prepare something. And after preparing, I'm going to give him like my feedback. And feedback should be something called in human resources sandwich technique. What is sandwich? Come with the positive, and then area of improvements or negative, and overall, which is positive, negative, positive, in order to be able to get him in a very nice way. That comes from the iman, because وَلَوْ كُنْتَ فَضًّا غَلِيظَ الْقَلْبِ لَانْفَضُّوا مِنْ حَوْلِكَ. If you were very aggressive, that a lot of people would left you alone and left da'wah. So what I'm trying to say is, if you are a good Muslim, you are going, and good mu'min, good believer, you are going to be a good leader, because Islam gives us a righteous way to be a good leader. So that's what I can say when it comes to quality.
Excellent. Okay. Brother Ahmed, if I can turn to you and talk about the second quality that makes a good leader, can I ask you to talk about sincerity in the person's actions?
Sincerity, yes. Among the qualities, by the way, we have to, I think that mercy is on the top of the quality, as well as support. Especially when that support and sincerity comes from the female Muslim leaders, like Salama.
Okay.
And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he was going into battles, the Salama radiallahu anha was giving water and tent to the wounded. So support is on the top, as well as mercy. And mercy is very important quality to the leader, to be an effective leader. For example, a woman might enter the hellfire. The woman that entered into the hellfire because she did not let the cat eat from the earth.
Okay.
She entered into the hellfire because she did not show any mercy to the cat.
Sure.
And the man who entered the paradise because he watered or give water to the dog. So we have to show mercy to the creatures, even the animals.
Okay.
And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bestow mercy upon us.
Excellent. So you discussed the attribute of mercy. Fantastic.
Yes.
Brother Idris, if I can give you the quality of sincerity, like we did, so what would you say is the importance of this a good leader?
I think it's the beginning of everything. I mean, nothing is, if you don't have ikhlas in anything you do, it's fruitless.
Okay.
I mean, you can divide the leadership qualities of man in two ways. One way is the relationship with this person and Allah. So you have ikhlas, you have tawakkul, you have taqwa, you have rahmah, all of these qualities dealing with between that person and Allah.
Okay.
And the other one would be the qualities between that person and the creation.
Sure.
Namely, of course, humans and animals, but beginning with humans.
Sure.
And this has many qualities, even more qualities than your ibadah with Allah. Why? Because in Islam, usually things that are for yourself are considered less than things that are for the jama'ah.
Very nice.
This is a hukm that you will find, and when you start looking at the sharia, when you start seeing shurut and stuff, and you start looking, a lot of the things are greater when it's for other people than for yourself.
The benefit of the masses is more important than your individual benefit.
So ikhlas, if you don't have sincerity for why you're doing it, first of all, you have to have ikhlas towards Allah.
Okay.
Not just ikhlas towards your wife or ikhlas towards, I have ikhlas with Ahmed. This doesn't work. This is futile and it's self-defeating.
Okay.
It has to be ikhlas towards Allah. You have to be sincere to Allah while you're doing it. Because when you have this, the results won't matter.
Sure.
If you failed, you're not going to feel that bad. You did it for Allah. And if you're successful, you will be humble.
Okay.
Because I didn't do it for myself. I don't need the reward or the fame or the claim. I didn't do it for me. It's for Allah.
Okay, very nice. Thank
This
you very
is
much.
probably one of the ingredient you have to begin with.
Right.
Amr bin Niyat. Begin with ikhlas.
Okay.
Everything else follows after this.
The foundations. Okay, excellent. Brother Muhammad, can I ask you to talk about, you touched on it earlier, but I want you to develop on it further, the importance of a leader to have knowledge.
Yes. Actually, concerning the part of knowledge, let me say first, like the points my brother said, they all come in just one crushab, and under the umbrella of Islam. So for the leader to be knowledgeable one, actually because like the leader is the one who has got to be a bit creative He's not the one. He just taking the. He knows the way. He goes away and he shows the way. So it just a person like that, he cannot be like ignorant.
Okay.
So when he shows people like the way they're gonna go, of course he's gonna be like a bit flexible.
Okay.
Not like some Egyptian managers. Let me say the people I deal with, like they like people to toe the line. Okay, just this is like do that and this and that. Okay, and then like they know nothing else.
You're
just
going to be in trouble now after this.
Amen after.
You'll be missed.
It's just what. Okay, and just this is what I'm saying. Like people, just somebody who knows the way and shows people or the employees the right way to take. Okay, and just to be the line of the whole company. Like and just take a kind of example for that as Alexander the Great when he said, "I'm not afraid of an army of a sheep, of an army of lions led by a sheep, but I'm afraid of an army of lions of sheep led by a lion." I'm
Okay.
afraid of that.
Very nice. I want to pick on that and turn to Brother Idris about another very important quality that a leader must have based on what he just said is being brave. How important is it that our leaders are brave?
Yeah, because bravery incites, people to follow you. I mean, people admire a brave person, and this is a human quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in us. We admire brave people, it's just natural. Even when, not just for deen, I mean, if you see someone do something crazy, you're thinking that person's, wow, he's pretty brave,
Okay.
Of course not, Looney Tune crazy, but, something that within the realms of reasonable bravery, of leadership bravery.
Sure.
People tend to want to follow that person. Like, wow, this person obviously will go to the bat for me, and they understand.
Okay.
So, just to add one thing before you move on is that a side story is funny is how I used to be in the American military, the Marine Corps. Okay. And we have like leadership training, and we learn 14 different traits about how to be a good leader. They teach you. And the funny thing is that this is before I was Muslim. After becoming Muslim, every single trait that they taught and the way they taught it is actually connected to Islam. They don't tell you that, teaching you. Okay. But these qualities you will find in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I can't go through all of those 14 of them, like dependability, bearing, courage, decisiveness, endurance.
It backs up the point you're making that if we turn back to our faith, we will find all the answers.
Exactly. You don't have to go to the West to find the answers. They're already here. Okay. You just need to find them and implement them in this time and age in the right way.
Sure. Brother Ahmed, if I can turn to you now and look at the qualities of a good leader as well. In Arabic, you have a word, a bit of a difficult word to translate, but you have the Arabic word muru'ah, which is, I think, being manly, if that's correct. Yes. How important is that?
In order for the people to follow the leader, he has to have lots of qualities, as my brother Idris said, bravery and other qualities like confidence and other qualities. So in order for the people to follow the leader, he has to be brave, because if he is coward or something like this, he will not be followed. Okay. People, as you know, follow the lions, not the sheep. Yes, so he has to have lots of qualities that I think are declining right now.
Okay, fantastic. Sure.
Just to add one more thing to that.
Yeah, go on.
Just to make it simple, think about the marriage. What wife is going to follow a man who's a coward and doesn't have a backbone? The wife will be ordering him around, and he's going to be.
Maybe that's the reason why many of the wives now are in charge of the households.
So you have a leader, he has to be a leader.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he's a tyrant in his house and he's, beating her up and running. There's a proper way of doing it, but he needs to be firm and have, fortitude and stand and be a leader. You have to do it, otherwise nobody will follow you.
Excellent. Brother Ahmed, let's bring you into the discussion here as well. Another very important quality of a leader is that he stands up for the truth.
Yes.
How important is that?
This is very important. Like, for example, say the truth, whatever the result is. So, for example, I'm going to mention like a situation happened before with me. When I entered in the school, I found that I was in a managerial position. I found that a lot of teachers getting a very low salary. And according to budget of the school, this will going to be like affecting badly if we are going to raise the salaries up. So I said this will not be able to bring for you a qualified teachers. No, you are going to manage, or you are here to damage the budget. So please, you are away from this, or you are away of this. So please, don't talk or do not discuss this matter anymore. But I face this problem, I face the whole matter, I face even the management, but in a very logic way, not the crazy way. Because if you have a right, so speak in a very proper and decent way, you can get your right. And of course, like for example, she was getting like around less than 1,000, and she's getting right now more than 2,000. So why I'm doing this? Because if I'm going to give the right to their people, I can get the right before, because if you are going to do something, it's going to be like a copy-paste.
Okay.
So that's what I can think. Face the problem, do not escape, but face in a very logical way, in a very nice way, in a proper way of speaking, because this is going to be your personality up.
Okay, excellent. Just like the Prophet ﷺ himself has said that the best form of jihad is the one who speaks the truth in times of difficulties.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Brother Ahmed, if I can turn to you and talk about another important quality inside of a leader, and that is patience. How important is it that a leader has to have lots and lots of patience?
Yes, he has to be patient, because if he is not patient and he is doing something very quickly and without paying much attention to the followers, and he is not patient towards them, they would not follow him. As the Prophet ﷺ was very patient towards the companions, as well as this quality is very important, because if the leader is not patient, not only the companions, not only the followers will not follow him, but also they will escape. They will escape from them, from him, and he will be abandoned. The Prophet ﷺ was very kind, was very patient, and we have to learn this quality from him.
Okay, thank you very much.
I just have to add this amazing examples that, you know, the best example of a patience in leadership is, in my opinion, is the mother and child.
Okay.
I mean, imagine if a mother's not patient with her child. Look at the results usually come out of this.
SubhanAllah.
I mean, of course, this is rare because mothers are usually more patient than even fathers.
Well, of course.
But imagine if they weren't patient with the child. You have disastrous results usually.
Sure.
So it just shows you the example of when patience is needed whenever you're leading something. You have to have patience if you want results.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, very important.
I would like to add something, please.
Okay, we've got two hands. Let's go with Brother Ahmed and we come to Brother Muhammad.
Yes.
Sure.
Please, and when it comes to this matter, also like the manager and leader in that case, if you have like a weak employee, the manager say, okay, get out of him, kick him out. I need, maybe I can get a qualified one or another one.
Excellent.
But the leader, we're gonna make a session called coaching ID solving. What is the ID solving? We're gonna check the problem, the cause or the roots of the problem, the possible solutions, promises from his mouth, because what comes out of his mouth is gonna be a promise, and follow-up sessions. This is called leader, this is called coach. So that's what I can see the difference between the leader and manager.
Excellent.
That's what's going to be the good leader, the true leader.
Sure.
This is the
Okay,
difference.
Brother Muhammad, did you want to add something as well?
Yeah, all I'm just saying, it's just a kind of a personal viewpoint, which is like, I don't think that all Muslims need to be leaders. Like, not leaders like coming in the like everyone like want to be a leader, or just at least like maybe a leader for himself, but not like a leader for all people.
Okay.
Like I mean, like there must be some like it's kind of a talent. Like some people have got the talent to be a leader, to lead others.
Okay.
And because like for example, like Salah ad-Din and Sayyidina Umar ibn Abdul Aziz and all caliphs, they have got like the talent to be a leader. Not everybody like has got like maybe a brave, but he's impetuous or something, so he cannot be a leader. So leadership has got some qualities to be like a right one in the right place.
Okay, I'm going to put your point of view here up to the test.
Okay.
Brother Idris, let's bring you into it. Do you believe, as Brother Muhammad said, that leaders can only be born and we cannot produce them or train them or educate them to become leaders?
You know, to be honest, there are some people who have leadership qualities, but they don't know it, and they haven't been honed, they haven't been taught, or hasn't been brought out of them. So I think you could teach some people to be a leader, but not everybody. He's correct. Some people just don't have it. Not everybody can be a doctor.
Okay.
Just because you want to be a doctor, you can study and study and study and study and be a horrible doctor. And maybe you'll get your license, but you become a horrible doctor.
Okay.
It's not for you. And you knew it wasn't for you, but you keep forcing the fact, and then it happens all the time.
All right.
So
We've only got a few minutes left. I just want to ask some personal questions. So who out of the four here, you can by raising your hands, who believes they have the skills of leadership? And there's nothing shy about it. You can, if you're in a position of teaching, then you are a leader.
Why don't you look at me? You're looking at me.
So who believes they have the capabilities to lead a team? Brother Idris, you're a teacher.
I do have the capability to lead, and not to be prideful or
Well, of
anything,
course
but
not,
just
yeah.
from experience and training and knowing what I want a leader to be. I think depending on what aspect of leadership, you know, of course, is across the board. Not a leadership in everything, but in some things, I think I'll be an okay leader.
I mean, you're a teacher, so you're obviously a leader. But Ahmed, are you a leader?
Like my brother Idris said, I miss some qualities. I miss maybe lots of qualities that must qualify me to be a leader, but I'm working on following the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ and the companions. Maybe I one day acquire the qualities that qualify me to be a leader.
Okay.
But in fact, it's not necessary to be a leader.
Okay, excellent. Brother Ahmed, very humble in his response, but I'm sure he is a leader behind closed doors. Okay, so Brother Muhammad, so tell us, you're a teacher as well. How do you feel? Do you feel you're a leader, and do you have the qualities to lead as well?
In fact, before graduation, I didn't try to be a leader in anything. I was a bit quiet. But at the present time, like starting my career as a teacher and leading my class and the whole students, I feel like I'm learning to be a leader.
Okay,
Yes.
excellent. But you're on the footsteps. I mean, you're a teacher as well. You're leading people in education.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
Brother Ahmed, I'm sure you're a leader. Can you tell us the qualities that you have that make you a leader as well?
You know, Brother Junaid, I'm a humble person, you know, so yeah, I'm leader. Yes, I believe in my point of view, as long as you're a good teacher, you have to be a good leader, because you are going to teach students.
Sure.
They are going, if you are a good leader, they are going to imitate you, imitate the way of talking, the way of like the way of walking, the way everything. So you have to be a great model, a great role model, a great teacher, a great leader. So I believe if you are going to be a good teacher, so in that case, inside you, there is something called great leader.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much, all four of you. We've come to the end of our program, and we've discovered we have four secret leaders inside this room.
And you lead us all.
Brother Idris, I'd like to thank you very much for coming to the program and giving us your contributions as well.
No,
Brother
pleasure's
Ahmed,
mine.
thank you very much as well for coming to the program. Hopefully we'll see you again as well. Brother Muhammad, thank you very much.
Honored to be with you, yes.
Brother Ahmed, thank you very much. Okay. And collective, you'd like to say Assalamu alaikum to everybody. Dear viewers, we've come to the end of our program here on Let's Talk. What a fantastic discussion looking at the concept of leadership. And no one will deny that we definitely need to improve ourselves on this particular subject. As Muslims, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us responsibilities. There is no one who is free of these responsibilities, but we have to execute them in the best manner that we can. And the only way we can do that is by learning and understanding these responsibilities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us good leaders. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make those leaders even better leaders. So inshallah ta'ala, dear viewers, I hope the discussion was fruitful. Hope the discussion was very beneficial. You can join us on Facebook if you want to continue the discussion. But until next week, I would like to say thank you very much for tuning in. So assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.